On today's Hashi, I'm discussing existing home outpricing new builds, the household debt and credit report for Q2 2025, more insights on the economy, and mortgage applications for the past week. Today is Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. I am Byron Lazine, and the Hashi starts now. Live from Connecticut. Haley, it'll be the last time in a little bit that I say that. I'm not smiling about that. Haley's smiling about that because then she'll be back to some work from home status. All right. Love to know where you guys are tuning in from. I see Leonard, Hermosa Beach, Eric with a K from, I think that was Long Island, right? We got Washington, D.C. in the house. All right. Love to see it, guys. We got another lineup here to move through. We've got the existing homes are now outpricing new homes. Who would have thunk? With all the homes short to meet supply, who would have thought we'd get into that? People like new. We'll break it down. Household debt and credit debt. Just another insight on the economy. There's a quote from Mortgage Banker Association that when we get to mortgage applications is puzzling, talking about a weakening economy, but yet the GDP was at 3%. So there's a lot of variables right now kind of mixing into this economy and what it all means. It's why the conversations that we're having with clients and customers, if you're in the real estate industry, the housing industry, even, obviously a lot of agents right here on the hot sheet, but from any perspective, attorneys, the conversations we're having are ultra important. The masterclass that Sharon and Andrew did, the BAM pricing masterclass yesterday, that was exceptional. We've actually open sourced that. It's right here on the YouTube channel. So at Now BAM on YouTube right here. If you're listening, obviously live on the YouTube channel, you'll know where to find it. It's open source for everybody to find it. That's how important it was. We believe in BAM. Hey, we got to get information accessible. And that was a brilliant masterclass yesterday, highlighting the importance of these conversations right now. And let's dig into the data here of the moment. National Association of Home Builders. This has got to be painful for NAHB. Market flip. Existing home sales. We know existing home sales are still chugging along about 4 million. It's been 3 years now where existing home sales have been suppressed to floor levels that, quite frankly, with the population that we have right now, many would have thought to be a thing of the past. 4 million existing home sales is where we're trending. We're trending below last year. Yet existing homes are outpricing new homes. Brand new, what everybody wants. The glitz and the glitter. In the second quarter of 2025, median price for new single-family homes was $410,000, which was $18,600 lower than the median price of existing homes, which stood at $429,400. It's marked the largest historical gap where existing home prices exceeding those of new homes, according to U.S. Census Bureau and National Association of Realtors. It's not seasonally adjusted. Wow. The largest gap between new and existing. Okay. From 2010 to 2019, this pattern held steady. New homes carrying a premium over existing. The difference was 66,000 on average. Past 5 years, the gap has narrowed, averaging just 24,000. So think about the past 5 years. Okay, the past 5 years, we've had such a reduction of inventory post-COVID that when you don't have inventory, yes, existing is beginning to become more attractive. There's a couple things I think that don't get mentioned enough when you're looking at the analysis. And right now, the not only the tightening of the gap, but the flipping of the gap, completely flipping it around where existing homes are now more expensive than new homes. Well, the existing homes in most cases just have a better location. Like, I mean, I was having this conversation with somebody that works up here on the Connecticut team yesterday, and we're talking about locations. He wants to buy a house out of state, and I'm like, I know the location very well. I know it like the back of my hand, and it's not a location that I would buy. And so, well, I've been there you've been there a couple times. I've been there a lot of times. Like, I buy on location. I don't buy on deals anymore. I learned that mistake when I was 19 years old, 20 years old, 21, when I bought 3 homes on 4 mortgages during the subprime run up and made every mistake in the book and lost my shirt in real estate. I said from that day forward, I'll never buy on what is perceived as just something I can afford. If I can't afford a premium location, it's not for me. Okay. If I can't afford, talked about yesterday in the Real Word, I like premium. I prefer full service. If I'm paying for a service, I'd rather not do half-baked. I'd rather do it myself than half-baked price and half-baked service. I want full service. I want premium. I like nice things. And that's how I think about real estate. I like location. I like great locations. And I think the existing homes have already been built in a lot of the highly desirable locations. Okay. I think the other thing that we're seeing here on why new home prices have now dipped below existing home prices is your existing home seller locked in at 2.9, locked in at 3.25, might want to sell, might not have to sell. 40% of existing homes don't have a mortgage. One of the reasons why we've seen such a suppression in sales is you've seen inventory. Right now we're back to 2019 levels, but that's certainly segmented into certain pockets of the country. We're not seeing, a seller who's moving much on price yet. What do builders have to do every 90 days? They have to answer to Wall Street, Toll Brothers, D.R. Horton, Pulte. They got to move inventory. They got to get it off the balance sheet. And with that, you're seeing more incentives, more price drops, a more aggressive approach to the market. So it's what Ivy Zellman said existing home sellers who really want to sell should be thinking about. Should be thinking about, how can I create an incentive to move the property faster? Builders are doing this, and it's maybe a true reflection of where price really is today, the direction that they're moving. Not yesterday's price, which is a record price for existing home sellers. If you put double the existing home sales onto the market, what do you think happens to price? It's why I argue we're not 5-6 million homes short to meet demand. We're short of demand in the Northeast. No question about it. Short of supply, rather, to meet demand in the Northeast. We're short of affordable supply. Annual change in U.S. median single-family home prices. New home prices moving down quarterly. Existing home prices continuing to move up. New construction, new homes, builders sitting on 10 months of inventory. Here are the factors that NAHB has highlighted as why new and existing homes are selling similar, and has now flipped to existing. Tight inventory, pushing prices home for existing homeowners. As I mentioned, secured low mortgage rates during the pandemic, hesitant to sell. New home pricing more volatile. Prices continue to change due to the types of locations of homes being built. Okay. When you build new, you're going to further away from where the perceived best locations are. Despite various challenges facing the industry, home builders are adapting to affordability changes by building on smaller lots, constructing smaller homes, offering incentives. Okay. The least expensive region for new homes in the quarter one was the South, with the median price of $372. Midwest was $385. Existing homes in the Midwest, you could still get affordable existing home at $328. South was right in line. Okay. You have a disparity in the Northeast. They have high regulations up here. Median price is $796,000 for new homes. And the West sold at $531,000. And existing homes, the West was above the 531, so 646. So pulling that number kind of into that existing home direction. And then Northeast existing was 646, so below the new. So you see that new homes in the Northeast are still much higher than existing homes. It's much more expensive. You don't see national home builders in the Northeast. They don't touch the Northeast. And it's why the Northeast has such a huge inventory issue. They don't build up here. They build in the South. They build a little bit in the West, right? And so the South and the West is where you actually have existing home prices higher than new home prices because of the glut of inventory. Midwest, it's new home prices exceeding existing homes. Not as big of a gap as you see, obviously, in the Northeast. And again, Northeast, you're going to have that higher regulation. All right. Interesting. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. What are the variables that you think that are creating that gap on the averages? Obviously, again, you dig in regionally and you see a different story there. Household debt and credit debt, something to watch for as we look at, is the economy weakening due to what we saw in the jobs report? GDP would suggest otherwise. I'll get into a comment from Mortgage Banker Association, but GDP would suggest 3% quarter two. Trade deals are bringing in a lot of money. That's what that would suggest. You look at job market, you've got some concerns about the future. Is the economy weakening? We want to look at all of the information, take it in, and try to make the best educated decision here. Household debt reaches $18.39 trillion in the second quarter. Auto loan originations increase. Okay, so $185 billion is the total household debt. That's the increase, rather. So it's going to hit the $18.4 trillion total, according to the quarterly report on household debt and credit. Mortgage balances grew by $131 billion, total $12.94 trillion at the end of June. Auto loan balances also increased, rising by $13 billion to reach $1.66 trillion. The pace of mortgage originations increased slightly, with $458 billion newly originated mortgages in the second quarter. HELOC balances rose by $9 billion to $411 billion, representing the 13th consecutive quarterly increase. People are tapping into that equity. We just spoke about equity here on the hot sheet, equity rich areas. Student loan balances edged up by $7 billion and stood at $1.64 trillion. Maybe the biggest scam of our time. Student loans seeing another quick uptick in the rate, which balances moved from current to delinquent due to the resumption of reporting delinquent student loans. Okay. Here's your total debt balance, non-housing debt versus household debt. So household debt making up the majority of all household debt. The housing debt inside of household debt is again up over 12 trillion, almost at 13 trillion for the mortgage debt. Okay, so mortgage balances shown on consumer reports grew by 131 billion. Again, almost 13 trillion in June. And that's where we're at on that. Now, when you factor in a couple of things, I talk about this quite a bit. We printed 80% of the dollars in the last 5 years. Okay. When you factor in population, some of these numbers are more expected than they are crazy. What do we want to look for? We want to look for the big spikes. Okay, if we look at number of accounts by loan type, we'll look at credit card. Credit card seems to be moving up. More accounts going to credit card. Auto loans have decreased here over the last couple of years. Mortgages haven't really moved up. An indication that the mortgage industry still remains strong in terms of who's getting a mortgage. It's still restrictive to get a mortgage. Number of new and closed accounts and inquiries. Number of accounts opened within 12 months has been trending down or somewhat flat. Number of accounts closed in 12 months, that did shoot up, now moving flat. Number of inquiries within 6 months is moving down. So maybe an indicator there to suggest that that increase in auto loans isn't as big of a deal. Here's the mortgage originations by credit score. Here's another factor for everybody who thinks we're getting into a 2008. Just another of many data points that suggest we're nowhere near that. Okay. The mortgage originations by credit score, the vast majority are at 760 and above. We basically have no more below 620 mortgage origination credit scores happening. Okay, so like over the last, since 2012, 2009-ish, 10, 11 to today, we've been running at a very low level of under 620 mortgage origination. It just doesn't happen. When 03, 04, 5, 6, 7, 8, it was happening at a much higher level. Dramatically higher than where we are today. So the majority of mortgage originations, they're happening with 760 plus. They're happening up over, you got to have a 7 in front of it really for it to happen at scale. Just another indicator that, hey, while the market is changing, normalizing, pre-pandemic level inventory, we're nowhere near anything that happened in 2008. On the weekly, new listings in 2008 was 250,000 to 400,000. We just had a week last week at 70,000 new listings. Whoop-de-doo. We're nowhere near 08 levels on any metric that you look at. Credit score at origination. So again, the 50th percentile is up at 760. The 25th percentile is up over 700. The majority of them are happening with very strong talk to your lender that you know in your market that you work with. Like, hey, how hard is it today to get a loan? Is it any easier than it's been at any point the last 5, 6, 7 years? If you look at auto loan originations, you get a lot more auto loan originations happening with a lower than 620 credit score. Okay. The 700s and above is a much lower scale. You've got a 25th percentile that's below 650 on auto loans. Okay. So I think that when we look at credit, when we look at household debt, real estate, housing debt still appears to be strong. Now, there could be some concerns in the future if we stack up multiple negative job reports. We haven't seen it in unemployment. We're rolling at 4.2% unemployment. Here's the total balance by delinquency status. You are seeing a little bit of a tick up here on delinquency status here. Severely derogatory, not moving up as much as that 30-day late. So maybe an early indicator that there's something to watch on delinquency, but you could also look at it as we're back to pre-pandemic levels of 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay. All levels are in line with where we were during those years on total balance by delinquency status, right? You had a moment here during COVID where One, we printed all that money. Two, there was some delays on delinquencies. Look at what's happened with student loan. That's driving that number up. Students weren't allowed to be delinquent for a number of years. They were given the pass. They were given a hall pass on their debt. Now that's opened back up, and you've seen this number obviously shoot up. The percent of 90-day delinquent by loans on student loan is now up over 10%. Credit card on the rise, something that is approaching the levels of 08, 09. That's something to watch for. Okay. Auto loans slightly up, I would say above pre-pandemic, kind of where we were in 2020, but above that 17, 18 level. Auto loans may be something to keep an eye on. And mortgage, you're just not seeing any significant concerns when it relates to delinquencies. This is a great, I'll just double check here, make sure that we have this one. If not, Haley, just make a note and let Vanessa know. I want to see this one in school for BAMX members. BAMX members, obviously, is jump into your hot sheet classroom. All the slides that I think are important of the day get uploaded here, as well as all of my notes. Yeah, so that's Vanessa knows what she's doing. You can just download this, whether you're on the app or on desktop, one click of the button here on the right. Percent of 90 days. This one I think really tells the story of where we're at with mortgage, home equity line of credit. We're not seeing a sever in the debt on those two cases. We're seeing it in other parts. It's something to watch for the future of the economy. I'm more concerned about mortgage debt, and if a lot of people lose jobs, we're not seeing that show up in the hard data. We're watching for it. Obviously, rates are going to react to that, but that's where we're at on. So I would suggest that this release by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York again suggests a pretty healthy economy. From a debt perspective, we're going to look for things like how the student loan has an impact, how auto debt. I mean, student loans just hold people back for longer, unfortunately. Will it have a great impact on the economy? Not so certain about that. Mortgage debt, home equity, line of credit, not in a delinquency issue. And you can see the total there, $18.4 trillion. Okay. That's the update there. Let's look at mortgage applications. Mortgage applications after the week that we just saw rates move down at the end of the week from the jobs report that we saw on Friday. Mortgage applications increased 3.1% on the headline from 1 week earlier, according to Mortgage Banker Association. And so this ended August 1st. So I suggest next week's will be even better. Potentially see an increase again week over week, which can be rare this time of year. It's rate dependent for sure. But August 1st was what? Friday? Yeah. Was it Friday? Yeah. So you didn't even get that real pop on Friday, although the rates were moving down subtly before that. You did have the refinance also increased 5%. It was up 18% prior to the same week a year ago. The purchase index, that's what we care about, up 2% from 1 week earlier. And it was up 18% higher than the same week a year ago. Now up in the high 20s of multiple weeks of going up year over year on the purchase index. A week over week move is always a good number to track as well this time of year. Mortgage rates moved lower last week following declining treasury yields as economic data releases signaled a weakening U.S. economy. I got issues, Joel Kahn, with this comment. NBA Vice President, Deputy Chief Economist. If this data ended August 1st, well, the jobs report came out August 1st. What did we have last week before August 1st? We had a GDP that ripped at 3%. So I'm not seeing a lot of hard data that's signaling a weakening U.S. economy. We're going to watch for jobs. In this past week, we could suggest, hey, that job report could signal a future weakened economy. If anything, the last 6 months, the U.S. economy has strengthened. I mean, just there's so many different variables you can point towards. All-time high stock market, low energy costs. So you've got all these. You got surplus for the first time June on a budget because of trade deals. You've got a GDP in quarter two that went 3%. You don't have, as much as Jerome Powell wants it to be true, inflation running away. He's got concerns to the downside in the future of what tariffs could eventually do, but we haven't seen that in the hard data. So I'm not sure why this quote would reflect that. Friday's job report is something to watch for and a concern, obviously, moving forward. Still a long ways away as we look on purchase application data. We're still riding in the low levels of the last 30 years, 95 and 2000 and 10 and 11 and 12, those years in the recovery. That's where we're at. We're reflective of those years. So a lot of room to go on mortgage purchase application. Multiple weeks, almost 30 weeks now in a row of year-over-year increases. Eventually, this should start to show up in sales data down the road. If we get a continuation of what we've seen this week on the 30-year fixed, we could get there. 4.224 is where we start the day on the 10-year. Yesterday's 30-year didn't move much from the year-to-date low the day prior, which was 657. We moved to 658 yesterday. Now, remember, and I said this yesterday, there have been multiple moments over the last year, 2 years, 3 years, where it's like, oh, wow, we're at 6.68 on December the 6th, 2024. And then all of a sudden we're at 7.13 only 12 days later. Or we're at 6.26 on October the 3rd, 2024. Oh, wait, 4 days later, we're at 6.62. So there's been moments where we got this momentum and then the rate jumps right back up. I love being currently at a year-to-date low and a 10-month low on the 30-year fixed. I don't love the volatility that has existed over the last 3 years, where this can jump right back to a 7 handle, strike while the iron's hot, get the information to your customers now, not next week, because next week could be too late. The rates don't know what's on your calendar. Okay, they don't know that, oh, I kind of wanted to chill out in the beginning of August. And if you're on vacay, you're probably not on the hot sheet today anyways. So if you're on the hot sheet, here's a little reminder. Go get the information out because a lot of people don't realize that we're at a 10-month low, okay? A lot of people are waiting for the Fed to do something. CME Group says there's an 87% chance that they will now, based on that jobs data on Friday, go ahead and ease by 25 basis points. The president, by the way, wants 3 points off. That'll never happen. No matter, he could appoint his wife into the Fed. You're not going to get a 3-point cut. I don't think she wants the job, by the way. 75% chance poly market 25 basis points. So the degens betting on this stuff are calling for a 25 basis point cut. And, a lot of people think they're waiting for this when the moment has already struck and it's happening right now. Don't wait for this, though. BAM Camp, the only in-person event, September 24th, Scottsdale, Arizona. We've now sold out of VIP. We've sold out of the morning mastermind. We've got main event tickets left. We'll sell out quickly. That's September 24th, Scottsdale. If you're in driving distance from Scottsdale, just jump on bamcamp.live, grab your ticket. It's $120. It's a no-brainer. And we're going to do some networking after the event. I think Eric's got a happy hour planned. If you want access to all the data that I go through each and every single day here on the hot sheet, including all the slides and all of my notes from every single show, just jump into School and grab them. School.com/BAMX. If you want to try this out for 7 days, you can. We also have all of our new content drops, hyper local content, each and every single week. uploaded in here. You can look at the past months as well, all uploaded into the new this week template, or classroom rather. You have listing templates, hyperlocal templates, all categorized for you. Sharon, who did the mastermind with Andrew, his knowledge bank, BAM board member Sharon Srivatsa, is available here now. Productivity playbook is uploaded there. And then Andrew Undum, he's got his as well in here. There you go. Andrew Undum's systems that they were talking about yesterday on that masterclass is in the BAM class. So much going on at BAMX, school.com/BAMX. If you want to grab that stuff, feel free to do that. All right. There you go. What do we got today, Haley? We got anything? We got office hours. Is office hours happening? I think we got an office hours at 3, if you remember. So jump into that. Other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. I'll see you tomorrow morning back in my home office, back down in Naples. So I'll see you guys then. Until then, toodaloo.